Yeah. I mean,
It's wild to go back and look at all the stuff that you've done.
it really is. And sometimes, like, I even think, I'm like, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm like, do they believe me? Like, because it can be be a little interesting. And
Well, it almost sounds like you're making that up.
yeah, it's like, how
You
did
didn't really do that.
Yeah.
No, I really did. Like, why would I? I'm way past the point of trying to impress people.
Yeah. And I
It's like,
yeah, I don't care.
if I haven't impressed you so far, I'm probably not going to, and I'm probably not going to worry about it. But I've done a lot of different things.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris.
Welcome to the intro.
Welcome to the intro.
Because I'm going to make sure I keep myself on track this time and not just jump right into another exciting episode of Rated Gen X.
Right. Hey, episode 30. Look at that.
That's crazy. Another milestone. I know a couple episodes ago, we celebrated kind of the 1 year.
Yeah.
And
I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I really do. Thanksgiving, they can go multiple ways. Hope yours was good.
Yep.
I've experienced both, or at least two ways.
Yeah.
Positive and crazy. But yeah, man. I mean,
other Quicksilver shirt.
A year,
same size as the green one from last episode, but look, this one doesn't look like oversized.
I mean, it's still pretty.
It's
large.
still big, but
and what is it? XL?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember buying a lot.
It's like a 90s XL though.
And then there was some weird period in my 40s where I thought maybe I should go medium.
Oh yeah,
that's a little tight.
I have a lot of Harley shirts that are medium.
There was a really small period where I feel like clothing manufacturers just kind of upsized. But what I found out is, like, it depends on where you get your stuff from, right?
It does.
Every manufacturer, I think, is a little different, which is completely unfair, especially if you're shopping online.
Oh man.
And
I do like, there are some websites where I buy clothes and they will say on there, one website is really good, and it will say, true to size, or, runs small. Like, it will say, so if there's a shirt that I'm looking at, a particular shirt, I'm like, oh, and I look and it'll say true to size. Okay, I'll order the size that I want.
Yeah.
But then there's one that I ordered, I went up a size because it says run small, and I went up a size and it fits perfect. So
well,
I applaud that company, although I'm not going to advertise for them.
It's difficult because, I'm going to be very safe here, but, different peoples are different sizes. And if you have a smaller group of people, making clothing, a large to them
might not be to us.
Like a schmedium to me.
Schmedium.
And schmedium fits a little too tight for this 50-year-old plus body.
Right.
So
what are we talking about today?
We're talking about jobs, man.
Jobs.
Careers. We had a great episode on our first job.
First job, yep.
And I thought it'd be cool to kind of talk about our generation as a career force. And I know this is the intro, so I'm not going to get too far, but I found a couple of interesting little tidbits I think that'll be fun to talk about.
Okay. See, I went more specific with jobs I've had.
Well, no, I want to cover that too.
Okay.
But in doing
Gotcha.
that, it spawned some other thoughts. So I think it'll be an interesting conversation. But yeah, I think it'll be cool to share with everyone kind of more about, our background. I know we've alluded to what we do now, right? But
Right.
we did some other stuff between flipping burgers and throwing barbecue to what we do now. So
slanging barbecue.
And what I found in my research, and I use that term very, very loosely, is that our generation has some uniqueness to it when it comes to that. So
all right, I'm interested to hear that.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Rated Gen X.
Yeah, well, let's hit the intro and we'll jump into jabs. All right, thanks for coming.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris.
What is happening, my friend?
Oh, just getting ready to talk about doing some work.
Doing some work.
You better work.
Probably both did a little bit of that today, huh?
Yes, I did.
Oh, sorry. Should have taken a swig of that before we started.
All right,
Yeah,
you
man.
Finish your.
I did. It's mostly gone. I decided I only want to stay up till about 3.
Okay.
But yeah, work. I thought this would be a really cool topic, kind of like what I was saying in the intro. I think it's cool to let our audience know a little bit about what makes us
who
up
we
and
are
who
and
we
what
are.
made us this way.
Yeah, because we
You can see my notes on scars upside down and backwards if you want to.
We both have had a little bit of variety, I think, in our career
man.
paths, right?
Yeah, there was a teacher. So I've changed schools in the last year and a half. Good friend of mine that still teaches at my old school, he would always make a joke. He'd be talking about something. He said, "I'm sure you probably had a job doing that." So anyway, and going through a lot of these, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I probably did.
Yeah.
It's wild to go back and look at all the stuff that you've done.
It really is. And sometimes, like, I even think, I'm like, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm like, do they believe me? Like, because it can be be a little interesting. And,
Well, it almost sounds like you're making that up.
yeah, it's like, how
You didn't really do that.
Yeah.
No, I really did. Like, why would I? I'm way past the point of trying to impress people.
Yeah. And
It's like,
I don't care.
if I haven't impressed you so far, I'm probably not going to, and I'm probably not going to worry about it. But I've done a lot of different things.
Yeah. And I think, kind of what I was alluding to in the intro is our generation. So Gen X is really that first generation that was looked at as a group that had careers change more than a couple of times.
Because I guess previous to that, you kind of went to work at one company and worked there for 30 or 40 years, got a pension from them, and that was it.
Exactly. And that's been the big change is, as our generation came up, those retirement plans really for the most part went away. Most companies shifted to something more like a 401k or some type of investment type opportunity where
that can run out.
Yeah. And so
not me, I still have a pension.
That I think has taken us away from, the loyalty that people would have. And again,
that's true. That's probably true. I wonder if companies, if they wanted worker loyalty, if they went back to a pension style thing, I wonder if you would increase worker retention.
I would agree with that 100%. I think so. Companies,
hey, you big CEOs that aren't watching yet, but maybe we'll watch later.
Companies are trying to do a version of that, and most of our audience knows, I work in human resources, you work in education, and from my side, pretty much every company I've worked for, we're always striving to build, better benefit plans, flexibility, all these things that
I think it's real easy.
We're told.
Pension.
Yeah, pension. Guarantee my retirement and
guarantee my retirement as long as I live. Now, I think people might be willing to take a little bit less than they would have in a 401k if they knew this is going to pay me till I fall over.
I think that very much so.
If I live to be 106,
I think a hybrid where
Metro Nashville Public School is still going to pay me.
If there's some some investment that the employee is also making. I don't disagree with that, but absolutely. And I think that while it's not in the form of pensions, it's in all these other areas, and I'd probably rather pay more for health insurance today if I know I'm going to have that health insurance paid for by the company when I'm 80 or whatever the age is.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that we are part of the first generation that really en masse did that. And as I was researching, I did a little bit of research on what are some of the most common and popular Gen X careers. And dude, it's all over the place because there's been changes and there's not a ton of consistency, right? I think a lot of that, has to do with just the time period
and changing technologies.
I was to say that the period of time that we kind of have come up in, things like tech has changed. We've gone through a couple peaks in that, and I think Gen Z millennials have really capitalized on that more. They look at work more as a gig now versus a career,
right?
Long term, and so in my role, which is interesting, this is not the role I ever set out to be in, and I tell people that. I'm pretty honest with that. Of I ended up in HR because I was kind of in the office so much. I figured it'd be cool to just work in here. I'm here enough already anyway. And that's probably closer to truth than I would care to admit. But HR was not my this is what I want to be.
I wonder how many people, their career ambition. I want to be in HR.
Yeah, probably 2.
Sorry, I'm clearing my throat so much. It's just the weather's changing. And
you, I would say, are pretty.
I'm pretty much doing what I set out to do.
Pretty spot on with what you set out to do. Yeah. When we were coming out of high school. Other than that short period of time where we both wanted to be accountants, for some rock and roll band or somebody, I don't know. But I think my approach. I had a couple of career starts that, for one reason or another, kind of went a different way. I like where I've ended up. It's given me a lot of variety. It's fed that desire not to be bored, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm never bored.
So
I can tell you that.
With that regard, I have a lot of respect for accountants, but I'm glad I'm not one. Absolutely. But yeah, so that was some of the interesting stuff I found as I was looking. Is we kind of, for better or worse, we weren't really the generation that went to work and stayed with a company for 25, 30 years.
Right.
I gave that a shot. I'll dive into it. Third year college, I enlisted, went into the military, and there was a period of time where I was like, I could make a career. This could be a good 20-year gig. And then, you get past all that stuff your recruiter tells you, and you realize how much time you're sitting out in the middle of the ocean. It's like, I don't know about this, but
I don't remember him telling me about this.
Yeah, it's like, really, I'm not going to say they lied, but I don't know if that was the full truth.
There may have been some, exaggeration.
Yeah. There was lots of really cool pictures on the recruiter's wall when I went in.
I bet.
And it was like, I can do that? That's all. And don't get me wrong. I mean, probably still one of the top jobs I've ever had was enlisting in the Coast Guard. And I truly did, in a very short period of time, get to do a lot of really cool stuff. And that's what part of that goes back to. Sometimes when I'm telling people that, it's like there's this look of disbelief, especially with other, members of other branches of service, where, you go into something like the Navy and it's pretty specific. You've got a job. For example, when I was in the Coast Guard in the mid '90s, my one job I was a radarman at the time. They no longer have that rating because they got rid of all the ones that ended in man.
Radar person.
Right. And now it's called an operations specialist, which is probably a little more accurate because, yes, I worked with radars and navigation, but I also did like 5 or 6 other things.
Right.
And whenever we would go through training, in particular with the Navy, there was always some surprise of like, oh yeah, I do that, but that's all I do. And it's like, oh yeah, that's one of my jobs. But
I do that.
I do this.
But
So
these other things too.
so it really created just a period of time, for me, just a little over 3 years, where number one, I got to kind of do all the things that we were talking a couple episodes ago about the TV shows, and I was really into like, the police, fire, first responder kind of thing. I got to do pretty much all that stuff, which was really, really cool.
Nice.
Good life lessons. But I mean, it came like really, really fast. So that gave me a lot of experiences right off the bat. Again, not really, anything that goes into a huge amount of detail because I didn't do it for a long period of time, but it gives me just enough ability to have a conversation where people are like, he kind of knows what he's talking about.
Is he making
it's
that up?
familiar, but it's like, how can you do that and this and all those? So that was my first step towards something that I thought could have been a career. And I admire anyone who can do that. For me, and what I wanted out of life and family and things like that, it got to a point where it's like, this is a lot of time away from home, and I couldn't see doing that as a career.
It was not conducive to the life.
No.
That
Well, I had
envisioned.
to change up anyway. I originally enlisted wanting to work in marine safety and marine science, and that was a school and training that had a very, very long list to get in.
Like waiting list.
Yeah, and I was on that waiting list, but then it would just get pushed back, and they would cancel classes, and then I'm like 2 years in, and I can't advance until I get into this class, and so eventually that's why I ended up going to radarman school. It was a high need rating, but it was also what they call an underway or deployable rating, where you were going to spend most of your career at sea on that, and it's gotten a little easier. I'm learning, by watching my son, but it's still a lot of time away. More than what a lot of people I think associate with a service like the Coast Guard. But that was my first kind of look at, okay, this is what a career could look like. But 3.5 years took me to Great Lakes, East Coast, West Coast. And then I made my way back here to kind of regroup and start what would be a longer career and kind of start the pathway to where I'm at now. But what I know, like after high school, I know there was some work for you that barbecue and food. You stayed in that for a bit.
Yep.
Did you ever see that going longer than what it did?
I could have stayed at the second barbecue restaurant where I worked.
Mm-hmm.
I could have stayed there and probably ended up, running a store and doing really well. I don't know. I guess I didn't have the desire to do that long term.
Right.
It was one of those things where, and my brother's the same way. My brother could have been doing that, and but I guess both of us, it was a great job for the time.
Yeah.
But I was still in school a lot of that time, working towards getting my degree and teaching license and stuff like that. So, because that was kind of my end goal, was I wanted to do that. But I mean, I could have just as easily been running a barbecue restaurant now.
You think that would have ultimately led to owning or partnering in some way?
I mean, probably. Well, because him, he's fair, and I'm sure he would have paid us well, and so who knows what life could have looked like.
Yeah.
Had I gone down that road, but anyway,
because people do that. I mean,
oh yeah,
I get a chance to interview a lot of people for jobs, and so I get to see a lot of history. I get to see a lot of paths that people have taken, and it does sometimes make me like wonder, like, okay, what if I'd have done that? Like, for instance, had I stayed in the military, you'd be talking to a retired Chris right now,
Right.
Probably about 10 years into retirement at this point. So in retrospect, it's like,
Could have stuck it out.
But, you know,
I thought about that too.
I also, you know, look back at all the things that I got to be a part of in like my children's lives and my wife in her life. And it's like, no, I absolutely, I don't have any regrets on the pathway that I have, you know, followed and been taken on, but you still think about it, you know?
Right.
It's like,
The only thing I wish I would have done different as far as teaching goes is I wish I would have gotten my act together and finished my degree earlier.
Yeah.
Because had I finished my degree when you were supposed to, you would be talking to a retired Dave.
yeah. What plan were you on? You were redshirted like what, 3 times, I think?
So I was able to cram 4 years into 9. Now, I was only in school for 5 years, which is, I think, 60% of the people that graduate from college graduate in 5.
Yeah.
So I was in school for a normal amount of time, but I took time off in between some of those years because I had life events that necessitated full-time work. So anyway.
I think that happens to everybody. It's
All right, I'm going to jump in on some of my jobs.
all right, go for it.
All right. My very first, I know we kind of talked about, we had an episode on first jobs, but my very first job that I ever did, job for money, aside from like doing chores around the house and getting an allowance or whatever, was started mowing yards when I was about 10 years old. Just people in the neighborhood, you know, they're paying you, I don't know, it's like, you know, $8 or $5 something. You know, just
$5 was pretty popular. Even numbers, you know, 5
right,
big yard,
5,
$10,
right?
You know,
$10. Had a big yard that I used to do $10. Golly, with a push mower, that was 22-inch push mower. So that was my first job, and then when I was 13, my church was. They don't own it, but they facilitated and were partners in opening a retirement home, as we call it, an old folks home.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this in that episode. I worked the desk during while it was an active construction site, and so I would answer the phone, you know, and then the foreman, if they needed him or something like that, I would, you know, go over the intercom, you know, whatever, and because there were just, you know, like loudspeakers, you know, the little megaphone type things that are around that would call him, he'd come and talk, whatever. And then got to where once it started getting finished, I could put a call in orbit. Mr. Bennett, dial 54. Mr. Bennett, dial 54.
Some high-tech stuff right there.
You know, which I thought was cool. And then at 14, so that was 13. And I don't really remember how I got paid. I don't know that I got a paycheck. At least I didn't. It might have gone to my dad or something. I don't know. But then at 14, I started putting the coupons on people's doors for Domino's.
Yep. I remember that.
And then I went back to the old folks' home once it was finished and worked in the kitchen. That was that job that we tried to get you on there.
I tried.
But I worked in that kitchen. And then McDonald's that we both worked at.
Got yourself a grease burn out of that.
Got a grease burn out of that. That's from episode 29, the Scars episode.
Scars.
And then Witt's Barbecue.
Yep.
Which we talked about in the first jobs episode. That was a good job, man. I mean, I know that we talked about the Lemonade Challenge. We talked about several of those, you know, just incidents.
That was a highlight of my like pre-career
Yeah.
work, honestly. I really enjoyed that.
Witt's was good. And then later Stroud's for me was good. Then I worked the front desk, the reception desk at the athletic dorm at UT Knoxville.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
Forgot about that. So That was the brother of barbecue restaurant owner, was the RA.
That's right.
The head RA there.
I forgot about that.
So went and did that. And then we worked at Van Heusen.
Yes, we did. A little bit of retail.
Don't have much retail. That's about it for
terrible
me.
at that job. Yeah, that's the only time I ever.
I was not cut out for that job because I'm not. I mean, Van Heusen is not like prim and proper, but
No.
but you're kind of expected to look a certain way and
Right.
appeal to a certain clientele.
You weren't like a tailor by any means. You weren't
No.
like, oh, what's your sleeve size? Stuff like that. Here you
No.
go. That's on sale.
Right.
Grab that medium.
It's like, oh, you need a, was it? Is it neck and then sleeve? You need a 16, 34. Okay, yeah, we got them over here.
Yeah. Although we did have those little measuring, those little cloth where you can unroll them.
Right.
I think I still have one, to be honest.
Well, it's because people, if they wanted a fitted shirt,
Right.
they
I don't
wanted.
know what size I am.
Right, I don't know what size neck I am.
Here you go. Let me measure you right. Yeah, I do remember that. Was a
measures
little
from
bit of, I might add that to my list of experiences.
from the middle of the back.
Amateur tailor.
Yep. So worked at Van Heusen. Then I worked at as a security guard.
Oh.
You remember that?
I don't. Where was that at?
It was a Guardsmark was the company. I worked at 2 different locations. The first one I worked at was the Snodgrass Tennessee Tower building downtown where they used to spell the words on it,
Yeah. I don't think I knew this.
So in downtown Nashville, they don't do it anymore because the state has taken over this building, but it was privately owned. It was called the Tennessee Tower. It was just it wasn't that wide of a building, but it was taller, and it had very narrow, like long windows. I'll put a picture of the Snodgrass building here. Hopefully I can find one with a word spelled out. So what they would do is different times of the year, it wouldn't happen every day, but different times of the year, they would spell out different words by turning on and the only reason I know this is because I did it. As a security guard,
cool.
We had the layout of what, how the word was supposed to be spelled,
Right.
What we had to do. You turn on the perimeter lights of the floor. So I'd go, I'd be on like floor, 15. I would have, there'd be 3 or 4 of us, something like that. I would have like floors, 15 through.
Oh, so
18.
you're going to each floor and doing this. This isn't from like a control panel.
Oh no, no. I'm gonna tell you how we did this. When you got off the elevator, there was an area that had like I don't remember if it was a lockbox or a closet or something like that, but it would have the light switches, control panel. And you would turn off all the interior lights, but they had a perimeter light that would just do, because it was a square. I think it was, it was the same width all the way around.
Yeah.
You'd turn on the perimeter lights. And then what you would do is you would go, and they had blinds, like tall blinds. I mean, these windows were probably, I don't know, 8, 10 feet tall. So you had these blinds, and you would close some blinds and leave some blinds open so that it would spell out the word.
This sounds so inefficient.
Well, that's all we had. And so you had a chart, and you had 4 sides. Okay, so you had to do this same thing on 4 sides. So it would be like, and I'm just making this up. This obviously wouldn't spell like that, but it'd be like, close window, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17. So you had to close those blinds. And then we would have to go outside and to make sure that it looked right.
This had to be during the time I was sitting out in the ocean, apparently.
Probably.
Because this is all new to me. I'm like...
So I have actually worked spelling out those words on the Snodgrass
That's
building,
awesome.
like Noel, at
it'd be cool
at
for
Christmas
you to
time.
get a picture of one that you actually helped do. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, if we'd have had camera phones back then, I probably would have.
But
At
that's
work, what you doing?
crazy how and this obviously took multiple people to do this.
Yeah. So as you know, you would get four or five floors per person.
Right. Wow.
And
I never knew that.
And so I would do these 4 or 5. Somebody else would do these 4 or 5, and somebody else would do it. And so once you did all that, and like at the top and the bottom, you would just close them all.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have that. But I've worked.
Then go outside and check it.
And that's the thing. We would all go outside and look up and be like, and I don't ever remember being like, whoops.
Yeah.
So I think that, because you just had to read a card and.
I mean, because somebody's getting paid to figure this out.
Right.
I mean, that's another in and
well,
of
itself. Well, I mean, once they
like,
did it once, it wasn't like they didn't do a whole lot of new words.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's only so wide.
How long did you do this?
I probably did that. It was at that building. I was there probably less than a year.
Okay. Full uniform.
Yeah.
Like the what you see like a
Yeah. Now we didn't have any type of weapon other
Right.
than like a baton, but
you had a baton?
I had a baton,
Nice.
not expandable baton, just like a billy club.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's still the same.
Right.
I mean, did you guys train on that?
No, not at all. See, now you have to be certified with that stuff now.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. I'm pretty sure you had to be certified on it then. I think
I don't
you
know.
should have.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
Past statute of limitations.
It's just
But then I worked for the same company, but I got I asked to be transferred somewhere. Like that job was fine, but I had to go downtown, and work the night shift.
yeah.
So now I was transferred, still night shift, but it's closer to home. I went to work at the Shoney's commissary over on Elm Hill Pike, and they had like 15 freezers and refrigerators and stuff like that, where they would like make the desserts or whatever and then ship them out. And so I had to go every hour on the hour with a clipboard and a log, whatever, and write the temperature down for each of these
Of the
freezers or
freezers.
refrigerators to make sure that there was no malfunctions.
Wow.
You talk about a mindless job.
Oh.
Like, people are like, oh, that's easy. I'd love doing that. No, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
you wouldn't.
it's boring.
It's
I
as
do
mundane.
I do think that for as bad of a rap sometimes as like security gets, people call them rent a cops, all that other stuff. I do think that's one job that I think everybody should have at least once.
Yeah.
because you learn. I think
you're
you learn a
not
lot
just
from
doing like security. Yes, I was making sure nobody broke in and
Yeah.
stole the strawberry cake. But I had to make sure that the freezers weren't wigging out, and
I mean, Shoney's
I had
desserts are a big deal, dude.
I had a
It's like-
special phone that if something dropped below a certain, like if it was outside the parameters, I had to use this phone to call somebody because it was like a hotline kind of deal. It wasn't a red phone, but it was a brown phone.
You need to call the freezer police, man. That's
And
cool.
apparently they were supposed to be there pretty quick. So yeah, that worked those two security jobs, and then Washmaster Car Wash out in Rivergate.
I remember you having that job.
Me and Maddie Zarth had that job.
I remember that. You got some broader experiences, man. Those are
So yeah, Washmaster, and so which led to, I guess, eventually another job that I'll talk about in a second.
that lead to the parking job.
Well,
or no?
parking job was Stroud's was next,
Okay.
and then the parking job.
Okay, gotcha. So what's cool is you and I, like I've worked in security as well, but
Loss prevention.
loss prevention. We got to wear the little blue blazers and khaki pants. But probably at that same time that you were doing that, I was also carrying, like either though I had the collapsible
Expandable baton.
ASP baton. I did have my training on it, on how to use it.
Well, I have training on that. I have my armed security.
And then
guard
I was also
license.
washing vehicles. They just happened to be boats. So we were kind of doing the same thing
Yeah.
at that point in time.
Just in different places,
Different places.
different structures.
But when I came home, you know, I did give an honest effort to work in my family business, which is flooring and
Right.
construction stuff. Working with my dad. About 6 months was about all I could do, and I'm like, all my brothers do it. They do a really great job. wasn't my thing. I'm an amateur. I can do it at home, but that's about it. But then that led to working at eventually what would lead to a few years working in hotels. But yeah, it's loss prevention at the old airport Marriott there.
I remember that.
Which was supposed to be, honestly, it was supposed to be a job until I found a real job. That's exactly, I'm pretty sure that was the pitch I gave
And then
when I
you
came
kept working
home.
your way up
Just stuff just started to happen.
to
I mean,
GM.
The loss prevention was not the worst thing. I mean, it was also in a different environment, but it was enjoyable.
Well, you created a niche for yourself in that eventually, to where you were the guy that they would send to a struggling hotel to basically bring it back from the dead.
I've done that a couple times. As I look back on my career, I've kind of done that in a couple of different areas. I'm a good troubleshooter, I think. I was telling someone that the other day. You know, the chaos I kind of like. If you start to give me too much order, and you know, it's like, oh, things got to be this way, and this way. I'm like, I don't know about that. It's like, it makes me a little stir crazy. But yeah, so I mean, I came back, and you know, after 3 years of, you know, doing part law enforcement, part firefighter, part, you know, navigator. I did a little bit of what they call the Snoopy team, which is kind of like the intelligence gathering. That was kind of cool, taking pictures of boats in foreign ports and doing C-130 like overflights of like patrol areas and stuff like that. All kind of cool stuff. That's where I learned that I did not like to fly. Being on a C-130 over the Bering Sea and losing an engine. I don't care that you have 3 more. The plane has 4.
For
4
a
should be
reason.
working. Yes,
For a
I mean,
reason.
You know, it's like that was interesting. But yeah, then coming back and just trying to find something that I enjoyed. I don't know. The working at the hotel was cool. And then yeah, it eventually led to working at the front desk and different little Marriott properties around town before eventually going down to Florida to move into management, which sounds really cool, but that's a long way between that and eventually becoming a GM.
Well, I appreciated you working there. I got
You and a lot of other people did. I've
to reap
heard
some
that.
of the benefits of
But you know
your
that
employment status.
I think I've always done really well where there's a lot of variety, and in hotels, I mean, I think that's what appealed to me early on, is like, oh, you know, I could be helping with a banquet, you know, 1 minute, then I can, you know, learn something from a maintenance tech the next on how, you know, HVAC works, you know, laundry. I mean, just, I don't know. It was fun. And then you've got different people coming into your workplace every day. So you just, you know, it's not the same thing over and over again. So I really liked that. And I think I was fortunate too with just a couple of the programs Marriott had at the time. They had a special 6-month management training program that they were offering up because they wanted to see how internal, you know, employees who showed potential could kind of perform.
So basically work on internal promotions?
Work on internal. Well, they wanted to see, because they had a really robust college recruiting program where they would recruit, you know, recent college grads, bring them in as managers in training, and then turn them out 6 months later to be like a housekeeping manager or front desk manager. And I think they were having a lot of turnover. And so they wanted to do like, well, let's look internal. And what if we put some internal folks through the same program? Let's see if they stay longer and the tenure is better. And so it was a mixed group of, I think there were 12 of us. 6 were, employees who had high potential, and 6 were recent college graduates. And they put us all together in a big group and put us through 6 months of training at different locations in Florida, but we would come together, I think, like once a quarter and kind of keep track of each other. I will say that all the internal people lasted longer than the
I would assume
recruits.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, that
and went further, I
makes sense.
think, within the
that
company.
only makes sense.
So yeah, that was an interesting program to be a part of. But part of the training was they took you through every department of the hotel. So to me it was a constant like education on, I learned how to cook and run,
The laundry has always fascinated me.
Maintenance,
with how all that gets done.
It's pretty insane, especially when you get to like some of those big resorts like Gaylord. Like I've seen a couple of behind the scenes on a couple of their properties too, and it's like
we have seen some behind the scenes at one of their properties.
Just act like you belong there.
That's all you gotta do.
I don't think that works anymore.
I have a name tag
with your name on it or somebody else's
with
name.
my name on it.
That someone made you, or it was just you just happened to come across it.
No, it says Mr. Burr.
Oh. I like that. That's good.
I
don't have anything.
Our school,
from there.
they sponsored one
of
of the programs in our school,
Yeah.
and every teacher that was in that particular academy for the school got a name tag. Because we were over there for a training one day.
You were especially proud to get that, weren't you?
I think that we were supposed to give them back.
Oh.
However,
you kept it.
Somewhere in one of those tubs over there.
You still got it.
I
That's
still
awesome.
have it.
I like that.
And I've thought about testing it out, just dressing nice and then going and seeing somebody doing something, be like, "Hey, can I get you to do this up here too?"
It's like, I'm just gonna pop in and see the
just to see if it works.
What's the exhibit they do over there for the holidays? The frozen or ice. Or just walk in and be like, just checking stuff out today. Don't worry about it. Or at least get you some free valet parking or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy. It's changed a lot. What do you got next? So, I mean, that's kind of like.
So then I did the Washmaster and then Stroud's.
Okay.
I went to Stroud's Barbecue. And then I did executive travel and parking.
All right.
Where, we were there was a travel agency, but also an alternative parking lot to the airport. So you could park with us. We would shuttle you over. We would keep your car in a barbed wire fence.
Covered too, right? Did it have a little rooftop?
It had for when you drove up.
Okay.
So you could get out of your car with your luggage and get into the shuttle without having to get out in the rain. I think they now have covered parking available.
Okay.
But you could get your car washed while you were there. You could get your oil changed because there was a garage gas service station next door to us that we partnered with. So you could come back and pay for your parking and pay for your car wash, pay for your oil change. You could have all that done while you were out of town, which was incredibly efficient. And then I started washing cars at that location for them. But you had to be an independent contractor, so you had to go get your business license. So I had my own,
Because I was going to say, I feel like that ended up being, kind of a job that you did.
I did that for almost 3 years, where I had my own, and I made a lot of money.
I feel like it's a pretty lucrative type
doing
of
that
thing, if you're good.
I'm actually thinking about starting doing that again on the side. But it wasn't until, so this is in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Okay. Like 94, 95, stuff like that. In the mid 90s, I think 93, 94, 95. So it wasn't until 2008 that I started teaching in Davidson County
Mm-hmm.
that I started making more than I did washing cars.
Wow.
Now, why did you quit washing cars? Well, it was a 2-lane road that this business was on. A lot of traffic came through there, so they decided to tear up the 2-lane road and make it 4 lanes with a turning lane. That was about a 11-month project.
Yeah.
People don't want to drive down a graded construction gravel / dirt whatever road to get their car washed. Because
Did you ever think about just taking it someplace else with your contractor?
I did have some like steady customers that would get their car done like every week or every other week that started having me come to their house to do it. Stuff like that. So I did go mobile there for almost a year.
Because that seems to be the most common thing now.
That is now,
it's
yeah.
Mobile,
and that's what I would do.
service.
And I've got the generator. I got everything but a water tank. So.
Yeah.
But so I own my own car detailing business, precision detailing. Then I worked at Subway for a few months just to have some extra income while I was in school.
I don't think I ever knew that either.
I worked at Subway over on Stewart's Ferry Pike.
How's that?
It was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, I was good at it. I was a sandwich artist. But
all respect to the people who work there, but that's never a place that I would be like, Firehouse now.
So
I'd work there.
I knew the lady whose husband owned it.
Okay.
And I needed, that was right after the car wash thing kind of went belly up, and I just needed some kind of money coming in.
Gotcha.
So I did that. Then I started teaching. Well, no, I guess right before that, I did. I worked for like investment insurance company.
I remember that.
So I did that.
Remember that sales pitch?
Yep. Yep. And I know a couple people that do that or that have done that and done really well.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Is I don't think there's any rules to what can be successful. It's just you got to find what's going to be successful for you.
Right. And at the time, I had zero credibility. Now, if I was to do something like that now, after having taught the subjects that I've taught for as long as I have, I'd probably have some kind of credibility. But at the time, I was, a business that just not really failed, but it just ran its course.
Right.
And, so I did that, and then I started teaching. So I worked at private school, and I made no money working at this private school.
But you were teaching. I remember that being a big deal because it's like, all right, good. I'm in. You're finally, you got to that point where you're doing what you wanted to do.
Right. And then while I was teaching to supplement my income, I worked part-time for a guy doing, we did, cutting yards and landscaping.
I remember the landscaping.
I did that for about 8 or 9 years with him, all during my first 2 schools that I worked at. It wasn't until I started working back at McGavick I was making enough money where I didn't need to do that.
We've done a lot of the same things. I just happened to have found a niche where I got to do a lot of that stuff and just still be with one kind of company or industry. And I just realized this probably in the last year or two of how much variety I actually needed just mentally. Because I'd always I was like, man, I'm just like this steady kind of status quo, hospitality, 17 years at that point, or maybe even longer. But then I at one point I looked back and it was like, oh, but I kind of changed jobs or locations or something changed, honestly, about every 4 years. So I kind of stayed on that government military kind of rotation of like, all right, I'm good here. I need to do something different. And because, I got to same thing, I got to run shuttles to the airport. I got to, do landscaping and flowers and,
I remember you cleaning up the palm trees at that one place down in Florida where it's like
you
you came in and you said, well, first off, this place has got to look like people might want to even stay here. Because I remember coming there right after you got that job there, and it looked like
that was
an overgrown.
But that was one of those ones where it was like it was pretty dire, and it was like, all right.
But you came in and like cleaned that place up and made it.
I got it to the point where the person who replaced me after I left got a lot of awards and recognition, and probably 2 or 3 bonuses out of that. Which I'm really happy for, because he's still a good friend. But that's kind of the downfall to, I think, my personality is I like the chaos, and I'll be around for that, get some good order, and it's like, all right, let me go find some more chaos.
Right.
And then someone else kind of comes in, finishes up, just still does a great job. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I that's happened to me a couple times throughout my career where, like, man, if I had just hung out there, that would have been really beneficial. But I didn't. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to look at that, where I think a lot of our friends have a story that's similar to yours, where it's like, try this, try that, and that's fun. And for a lot of years, I thought, man, I didn't get to do that. But then I finally realized, I'm like, I did.
No, but you did. You just did it.
I just
in one industry.
Well, one industry, and honestly, I probably had a little less risk than what you were carrying, because when the car wash stuff stopped, it stopped, so your income stopped. If I'm working for a larger corporation and something changes, then it's like, okay, well, where else within this organization can I go to continue getting my paycheck?
Right.
And that's a little bit easier, I think, than what you were facing.
My paycheck went like, once they tore up the road, I was making 1/10 of what I was making. A 10th. That's scary. Which is unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
So,
but then teaching. So
then
that
teaching.
started. And you were still doing some side stuff even when that first started.
I was doing that. I was doing the yards.
Yeah.
And I still did cars occasionally for some people. And then,
is that business still in existence, or is it dissolved?
I don't know that so that business was open in Davidson County. I don't know that I don't remember. I don't remember filling out paperwork to officially dissolve it.
Okay.
But that business license has never been renewed.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
So, or since I quit doing that. But I had some cool business cards. I think I found one at, one point cleaning up something. I was like, huh. But then, even here recently, my father-in-law does electrical stuff, and he gets me to do stuff for him and clean up company vehicles, especially when they're going to sell one.
Yeah.
He'll want it
I
cleaned
think
up.
I miss that sometimes, having like a little side, income where it's just, when you want to kind of thing. And we've
Now I didn't talk about phone books.
Yeah, I happened to skip that one as well. Probably because I never officially got paid for it, because I never completed the initial job. But you had some success with it. I know you did stuff with your volleyball team as well. So I think
Tell you, man, we made we made probably $6,000 or $8,000 fundraiser, which took pretty much my whole volleyball team to Seattle to watch the national championship. So
that with them hotel discounts you were getting,
that hotel discount was through one of my players. Her dad worked for IHG.
All right, that's still a good one too. We tried. We were in Florida. We tried doing a business, family business, where it was more like concierge services, senior services. The whole, stop in, check in on grandma, things like that. Didn't really. I don't think we really put the effort into it to get that off the ground. But learned a little bit about being a business owner through that.
Yeah.
Learned that I didn't want to be a business owner. I like working for people. I probably learned that from my dad. I didn't want to be a business owner, and I think that's what kind of geared me towards working with companies and other people.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm thinking about reviving the detailing, not on any kind of large scale, but if you did 2 or 3 cars a month, that's supplemental income, especially with what people are paying now to have their car detailed.
Yeah,
And
not this people.
no, but like I'm telling, like
I'll take the ugly looks for the water I might be wasting out in the yard spraying it down.
I did my truck, man, and phew, if I were to do for somebody what I did on my truck, I'd probably charge them $400 or $500 for what I did. I mean that. But for a 26-year-old truck, you got to admit
it does. Looks good.
Looks nice.
I think I know we're coming up on time here, but so you made it to teaching.
Made it to teaching,
and I know that goes further. My hotel career eventually is what landed me in HR, going through like, I was always really good at training people and coaching people, and that's kind of what led me into that realm. But the pathways, I mean, I like some of the similarities we've had. I like learning something new about the
building.
The building. I thought that was kind of cool. But I think what our generation has been really good at too is, and I've noticed this more and more, I've experienced this, right? Is like, if you're not happy doing what you're doing, then do something different, because you can, right?
Yeah.
You can take the skills that you learn from any number of these, call them side jobs or pathways to your career. And some people, that's their career is variety, doing this, doing that. And I mean, I meet some amazing people that just come from so many different pathways, and it's like, wow. But then, they bring it all together, and I think this is something else that maybe it's not unique to our generation, but I do see it a lot in our generation is, hey, I've got all this stuff and knowledge in my head, but I'm not overly egotistical about it.
Yeah.
So it makes me, and it makes us, I think, in general, a population of people who can easily, interact with older workers like boomers, who in some cases, I know they're getting smaller, but right now they're the senior executives or the owners and things like that. It's transitioning over to, it's kind of skipping us in a lot of ways and going right to the millennials. Yeah. But I also think we kind of connect with both of those, and we're kind of that go-between, because I think we have good communication skills. We have a variety of knowledge that we're not afraid to share, because we're not intimidated by it. I'm not intimidated by someone younger than me having all the knowledge that I have. I'm like, here, give it. Because either you're going to be smart enough to be able to use it and pass me up, or you're going to be an idiot, and I ain't going to have to worry about it.
Right.
But either way, it doesn't bother me.
Right.
So it's like,
true.
Here you go. If it can be helpful, take it. And I think that's a little unique to our generation. And that was one of the reasons why this came to my mind of like, I want to talk about work a little bit, because I think that like when you get a group of our generation together, man, there's so much variety, and it's
you start talking about anything, and you got a decent sized group of people.
Oh yeah,
it's
gonna work. I don't know what the question is or what you're trying to accomplish, but it's gonna happen.
Right.
There's gonna be somebody who's gonna be like, why don't we try this, or let's do that, tweak that. And I think that's really cool, and I do notice that. It can sound and look crazy sometimes, but almost always it works.
We're gonna figure out how to make it work.
It's like it's gonna happen, but I don't know. But that was cool. That was a cool conversation. I really I liked that, and I think I'd love to hear comments on what's something unique that you did. There's still a couple of jobs that I didn't get to. Probably you still have a couple in there that maybe
that's probably most of them that I can remember. I was just sitting there going, trying to remember.
I think the only one I didn't hit that I really enjoyed was there was a period of time, 2001, when hospitality took a big hit, 9/11, and we were our contracts were renegotiated, and I picked up an extra job at Lowe's Home Improvement.
I think I remember that.
Working in the flooring department, so my dad was proud, I think. But dude, I love that, and getting certified on all the different, forklifts and
my brother worked
all
at Lowe's
that.
and had his forklift
Dude,
license,
I
tow motor
really-
license.
You got tow motor. You got what they call the Star Wars, which is that one that just goes really high up and you're on it.
Oh yeah,
that
like a
was
cherry
really,
picker kind of thing.
that was really cool too. I liked all that stuff, man. It was a blast.
I always said, I thought, maybe when I retire from teaching, I might go work at auto parts store part time because
I'd
I've-
probably do something like that.
I have old cars. I need parts, so
Work somewhere where you can get a discount.
work somewhere
man.
where you can get a discount.
Yes,
See,
that's
use
awesome.
your noggin.
It's awesome. It's awesome. All right. Well, we need to wrap this up. Hopefully, everybody's enjoyed that conversation. We are at 54,
All right.
55. What you want to add?
I don't have
I
anything
see
to
something stirring. I feel
add.
like.
No, I was just looking at this.
Okay. Do you have a question?
I don't necessarily have
All right.
a question.
I can ask a question.
You got one?
Yeah, I do.
All right. It's your turn anyway.
Does the variety of jobs that our generation is kind of, I don't know if known for is the right word, but does having a variety of jobs benefit the individual?
Does having a variety of jobs benefit the individual?
Yeah. Does it benefit us? I feel like I know the answer to that. But.
You may have opposition.
Okay. I could see other generations saying no.
I could see other generations saying that all this skipping around does not allow you to specialize enough in something.
You're too aloof. You don't have the consistency.
Now, we are way better than the younger generations.
Yeah, well, I think millennials, and it's been a little bit, I'll start with saying nothing that comes out of my mouth is scientific fact. All right, let's start there. But I have been exposed to information in the past in my job where the average millennial, and I think this has been a consistent trend, only stays at a job for about 2.5 years.
I think I've heard something similar.
Yeah.
I teach in one of my classes that the average person, and this is at the time that the textbook was written, which I think was about 8 or 10 years ago, the average person changes careers, not jobs, careers 6 to 8 times in their life.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. So a quick little internet search.
Look
The
at
average
you.
job tenure for Gen Y millennials, 2.7 to 2.8 years.
See, there you go. You're 2.5, and
Yeah.
you're about right.
So it's younger Gen Z trend is staying pretty comparable to that. So it's really, the days of, I was with this company for 35 years. I got my gold watch and my retirement plan.
You know
are
what
not
I got
the,
for 15 years of service at Metro Nashville Public
What's
Schools?
that?
A coffee mug.
I mean, you got something.
Guess when I got it?
I've surpassed 15 years with the company. And
Year
I
17.
I,
Year 17 is when I got my 15-year mug.
The only tenure gift that I can ever recall getting was when I hit 5 years with Marriott. I got a really cool pin. I got a little certificate from Bill Marriott and a little it was like a choose your gift catalog, and I got I think I got a briefcase at the time, and that was for 5 years.
For 5 years at Metro Schools, I got a lapel pin that was about smaller than my thumbnail. 10 years, I don't remember what I was supposed to get for 10 years, but my 10-year, we had an end of the year faculty luncheon, whatever.
Yeah.
That's when everybody got their stuff.
Gotcha.
My 10-year one that I think I was supposed to get, assuming it came on time, my mom was retiring, so I was at my mom's retirement
And you
end
got
of the
that.
year party. So I didn't get my 10-year thing because I was at my mom's retirement thing. So I don't know if they ever sent it or if I just never.
So it's still
ended up getting it.
MIA out there.
I don't even know what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. I think it may be a writing pen, and then
As someone that works in like personnel and is responsible for things like that, it's hard. Personally, I don't care. I mean, if you're paying me 5, 10, whatever it is,
right. I wasn't like
I don't.
at year 15. I wasn't like, "Where's my mug?"
Yeah. No, I mean
'Cause
it's never been anything big to me, and that's probably
I've never
a
used it.
disservice to maybe people that I've worked on behalf of and not acknowledge that. That's probably
because it
not
doesn't
the
matter
best
to
thing.
you, so
Right.
maybe it shouldn't matter to them.
But I think it's, I don't know. I know what I grew up seeing was you got the prize came at the end, right? It was the
Right.
gold watch and the pension. That was what
Right.
you were working for. You didn't get anything but a good job, pat on the back kind of thing all through the in between. So I don't know, but yeah, good conversation. My
Yep.
takeaway from all this is if you don't like what you're doing, do something different. You can do it.
But do it well.
Yeah, do it well.
Do it well.
Don't be afraid to take a chance.
Right.
Maybe they'll widen the road and the business tanks, but
And it'll just tank.
there's something else to do.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I'm done.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you staying this long.
Subscribe,
Like
YouTube and Spotify now.
Spotify.
Don't forget that.
Christmas is coming up, so we'll be doing a Christmas episode here soon.
We will. And I think now that we're a couple episodes past a year into this,
Yeah.
It'll be exciting to see what we do in this next year from episode 31 on.
You right?
So happy 30th episode.
All right. Happy 30th episode.
All right, man. Thank y'all.
See y'all next time.
Later.